wonderful program for you tonight, and we'd like to introduce you to our poet and our photographer. First, I will read a little bit about Michel. Michel Voltaire Marcelin is a poet, a writer, performer, painter. She was born and raised in Haiti, but sojourned in Chile. Así es que por ahí tiene lo chileno. Ya van a ver ustedes. She currently lives in the United States. The publication of her first novel, La Désenchantée, was followed by a Spanish translation, La Desencantada. And she has two other books of poetry and prose, Lost and Found, Amor et Bagatelle. It was translated into Spanish como Amores y Cosas sin Importancia. They had wonderful reviews, así es que fueron recibidos con bombo y platillo y ceremonia. Her writings are also featured in 3 anthologies published in France: Cahiers Haïti, Terre des Femmes, et Revue Intranquillité. C'est ça
Intranquillité.
Intranquillité, c'est ça ce que je pensais, mon cher, mais enfin. And she speaks and writes fluently in French, English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. She has a BFA from the Leonard Davis Center for Performing Arts at City University of New York and a master's from the New School for Social Research. She wrote last year a book called Witness with her husband, Johnny McCalla, who is right here with us. And now we are presenting this amazing book tonight, Shadow Dance, with art by Michel and photographs by Johnny McCalla. And I want to say that Johnny is somebody I have known for many years. He is an activist, a true activist who defended the rights of Haitian refugees and Haitian Americans, and knows Haiti like the palm of his hand, but also with his heart and his soul. And it was a great discovery to know that his photography was going to be known through the world through his wonderful lady, Michel Voltaire Marcelin. Welcome, Johnny. Nice to have you.
I'm so happy to be here with you. I mean, it's been quite a while since we've actually physically saw each other, but at the very least, this provided us an opportunity to meet again, reminisce about good times and some bad times.
Indeed.
But really talk about what drives us today. I mean, the fact is that to some extent activism is driven by a love of what can be done, what can be real, what can be transformed, and that's where I think we find each other in a way, looking for things in the art world, looking for things in the natural world, looking for things that are going to be good for us, but also for our brothers and sisters who are struggling to move forward. Because at the bottom line is, we all want to live a better life, and a better life is essentially peppered with all kinds of things that amaze us.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think that I'm drawn to this kind of thing.
Well, it's wonderful because Michelle herself is going to, what she has done, she has taken pain and understanding and vision and transformed it through her art. And so, Michelle, the floor is yours, my dear.
Janet, I'm so happy to be here. Estoy encantada. Quiero decir a los amigos y las amigas de San Salvador que tengo en mi corazón tanto amor y tanta alegría de estar aquí esta noche. Y quiero decir algo de Roque Dalton, que es un poeta salvadoreño también. Creo que el mundo es bello, que la poesía, como el pan, es de todos, y que mis venas no terminan en mí, sino en la sangre unánime de los que luchan por la vida, el amor, las cosas, el paisaje y el pan, la poesía de todos.
Así es, la poesía de todos.
Para todos, que sea claro para que todo el mundo lo pueda entender, como el pan. Como el pan bueno
como el buen pan, como el buen pan y lo que nos alimenta, lo que nos da posibilidades de seguir adelante toda la vida. Así es que gracias, Michelle, porque en algún momento vamos a presentar solamente tus poemas en español una de estas noches para que nuestro público pueda entenderte completamente. Pero esta noche estamos celebrando un libro muy bello tuyo que se llama Shadow Dance. So tonight we're going to honor your latest book. It's a book that it has art. It's a book that has poetry, but the way you have transformed pictures and colors and art. And we're going to start this evening with a wonderful set of images. So to get the public to see.
Before we start, Jeanette, I want to give a little gift.
Yes.
And I know about the book. People love the book, but people also want to know who is behind the book. So I want to tell our friends from El Salvador who is behind the book.
Excellent.
And this poem is for them. It is in Spanish, and it is, el título es Pizarra, que quiere decir dos cosas. Porque puede ser que la vida desaparece parcialmente, como desaparece lo escrito con tiza sobre una pizarra, que deja un rastro, un vestigio de lo que había existido, pero también es una locución francesa que quiere decir una deuda no perdonada. Entonces este poema explica eso.
Gracias.
Mi niñez fue dulce y verde. Inundada de sol, el mar se fundía en el cielo. A los 16 quise morir de amor. Escoltaron mi corazón al manicomio. Después vi pasar soldados. Arrancaron la esperanza y la encarcelaron. A los 30 años me atravesaron el corazón. La bala solo hizo un hueco. Para reír me dejaron en vida. Me convertí en piedra al borde del camino. Un niño me trajo la belleza de su risa y el agua clara de sus días. Me convertí en mariposa. Qué belleza las flores del verano. Viví la mitad de mis días, carta guardada en una gaveta. Mujer, candela, hormiga roja, sueño que interpreta la noche. Cuando dejé este espacio ilusorio, conservé pocas cosas, poemas, algunos rostros y la sombra del cielo de mi niñez.
Ay, qué bello, qué belleza. Eso definitivamente hace un trazo de tu vida que me emociona. Y esta transformación en una piedra en el camino que lo cambia un hijo y te transforma y transforma tu vida y la hace transparente y le da razón y le da
color.
Le da color, indudablemente le da color, pero esas cartas guardadas en una gaveta, ahora en otro momento vuelven a salir y a mostrarse, a gozarse. La verdad que me emociona mucho sentir como tú En un poema has mostrado tu vida y ahora nos estás regalando las cartas tanto de la niñez como de tu vida de adulta.
Y de la
Entonces,
futura,
así
y de
es.
la mujer futura.
Y la mujer futura que sigue creando, sigue haciendo.
Bueno, esto para
Fantástico.
ustedes, amigos, y gracias de estar aquí esta noche.
Gracias,
No,
gracias a ti.
English for the other ones.
All right, all right, all right. Well, would you like us to start by sharing some of the art in the book? Shall we start now?
That would be lovely.
Okay. All right, great.
Ah, okay. This photo. This is where it all began. Todo empezó aquí. El amor a los poemas, the love of poetry, my father's bookshelf where I was allowed to roam free, where I developed a very eclectic taste because no one was guiding me. Yes. And this is a picture of me at 7 years old, which I transformed into art digitally. Very serious eyes, a very solitary child. It goes with the poem. Shall I say the poem?
Absolutely, absolutely. Please.
So I think poetry can be many things, but for me, two things. One, it can be a testimony or it can be a testament. And this one is called Ars Poetica. On days when all seems dark, when the world pours in and the pain blows words out of my mouth, I look at open windows and running trains with a craving hard to explain. But I rush by quickly, eyes shut tight, and count my breaths. And when I catch a glimpse of myself, a talking shadow in full light, hair blowing and blind, I must seem not knowing my left from my right, always lost. But as I stand here in my age of reckoning, a woman at the end of her history, I tell you, I know I have found myself. I have found happiness where I did not seek it. And grief has come frequently when I did not expect it, and come to stay like an unwelcome guest one cannot turn away. And it has marked me, but it has also allowed me and my heart to break with tenderness and make me part of humanity. And I give thanks for the voice I have been given, for the little song I can sing, oh, for the light I can add to everyone else's. For I have tasted it all, the bitter, the sweet, and what was forbidden me. But I am alive. And I have learned to live in this world, which is beautifully hopeless, but hopelessly beautiful. And if I am remembered at all, it will be because whatever else is true or false, it will be because I have found love and I have unflinchingly faced it and embraced it.
Ah, indeed you have. Indeed you have. Ah, this is just a wonderful, wonderful, also part of that futuristic view that you were talking about, Michelle. The fact that
At
it,
the age we are, where the road in front of us is so much shorter than the road we left behind, we must make peace with ourselves and hopefully at this point know what is important.
that's right.
Just like the woman in the other poem that said, all she will be left with at the end are some faces and the sky of her childhood. This is what we'll be left with. And being at peace with oneself, knowing who you are and Everything you do, if it is not moved by love, has no point in being. And like Johnny said, activism is also moved by love.
Absolutely.
Not only talking about romantic love.
No, 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 it's a love for humanity, that's what it is. It's a love for the human in us, definitely. I just love the way your art is transformed. I think that this picture of this serious young woman, okay, the way you use color and you use, to me, it is it's absolutely a marvelous example of also your spirit. No, it's a marvelous example of that. The deep blues, the reds, the movement in it. It's definitely you. So I'd like us to continue with these, talking about the beginning and talking about the end. Here is a very, in contrast, it looks like this is acrylic, or is it oil?
This is acrylic.
Acrylic.
On canvas.
Yeah.
And this illustrates not a poem, but a prose text that is called My Mother Weeps.
Michelle, I can, is your microphone all the way? Because I with the volume all the way?
I believe it is. Are you
okay, now I hear you better. Yes. Okay.
So this is illustrates a text that is called My Mother Weeps. Shall I read a portion of it for you?
Well, yes, please, because this is so impactful. I absolutely love this this image. It's so poignant.
I think when I work, and this is for everything I do, I'm a very intuitive artist. I am not methodical. I am not intellectual. I'm certainly not academic when it comes to art. It is all done by necessity. Do you remember that phrase? I think it was Reina Maria Rilke has a student asking him, should I write? And he says, you will know whether or not you need to write if in not writing, you will feel like you're dying.
That's right. And so
it needs, it is like giving birth. You cannot close that opening anymore. The time has come. It is not a game. It is not doing some pretty little thing, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, for me.
That's right. No. It comes from the heart and from the soul.
The guts comes from the heart. It comes because it needs to go out at that point. And it's not about doing it for anyone else but yourself. So let me read that. I'll just read a little part of it. My mother weeps, and the continuous murmur of her tears is so intense that it is impossible not to hear it all over the world. If she were a fountain, barefoot girls, ragged graces, would rush to her to gather the water from her eyes in enamel vessels, in plastic glasses, in banged up aluminum basins. Here, where the springs are dried up, not one of them would repeat the saying, fountain, I shall not drink your water. Never say never. But she is neither illuminated nor a drinking fountain. She's only a woman with swollen eyes, pregnant with a tiny tadpole splashing around in her amniotic fluid, the cause of the present tragedy. My father doesn't seem to care about this torrent. Indifferent to the flood, he hitches up the legs of his trousers so as not to get them wet in the puddles, goes right through my mother's arms, removing those clinging hands, those fingernails, bird's claws sinking into his flesh, and goes out. Maurice, don't leave. The threats become moans. Maurice, come back. My father doesn't turn around.
Oof. Oh, that is just so moving. I must say, to me, when I saw the image and I read the poem, I really could feel those tears. I mean, I think we've all either been abandoned or have abandoned. We have all felt that leaving, that door closing, either closing or slamming.
Yes.
Or being left open, you know? And so I think that is a very moving poem. I'm glad that you have it there, Michelle. I really do.
There is a French singer called Jacques Brel.
Yes.
Very well-known song, which is called Ne me quitte pas.
Ah, no me quitte pas, no me quitte
Nina
pas.
Simone has also sang it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes,
Yeah.
we all have been there. Even if we have not said the words, we have felt that emotion.
Absolutely.
But I, however, must say that this is fiction. This is not my father, and this is not my mother. This is not a personal story. But yes, we have all been there.
We've all been there.
There's nothing
Absolutely.
that is foreign to us in the realm of feelings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to the next image here. Ah, there you are. There you are in all of your beauty, in all of your beauty.
Well, this is a transformation from a photograph by Johnny, which we took in the north of Haiti in 2010, and which was transformed last year when we were doing this book. And this one I dedicated to my mother. The poem that goes with it is dedicated to my mother because she could not say the words in that poem, not at the time she lived, not in the society in which she lived. So I have just come back from home to see my mother, who is 101 this year, and might reach 102. So, Mom, this is for you. It's titled, I Am Woman. Who owns me? Who owns my laughter? I say no one. No one. A joyousness of bells resounds deep inside me. Innumerable seas rise into me, wondrous and fierce. My lavishness of spirit inexhaustible. I rejoice in the world.
Yes, 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 you rejoice in the world. What a joy. And it really, the image is just right for it, Michelle. I mean, really, I find it just perfect. I enjoyed it very much.
Can I say this? I know that, was it yesterday that you had your program on Claribel Alegría?
Yes, yesterday, yes.
And I watched it. But she has, this is a verse from one of her poems. And I think poets communicate with each other across times without knowing each other. But what we were talking about, the universality of feelings, listen to these phrases by Claribel, who she says, she discovers the sun every morning amid debris of wars and catches sight of the promised land. This is about finding beauty wherever you go, small or immeasurable, but there is beauty in this world.
Yes, there is beauty and we must see it. It's just whether we get up in the morning with that desire or whether we get subsumed in our heads and not wake up to that first opening of our eyes to see the sky. We're just, it's just a must.
We must celebrate. We
Absolutely.
must celebrate the mutilated world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Festejando la vida.
Festejando la vida todos los días. Estamos vivas. A mí me encanta esa decir, I am woman, yo soy mujer. Yo soy mujer. And I love this, the joyousness of bells. Me encanta eso de las campanitas that resound inside of me, que residen adentro de mí y están allí y que suenan y que me dan esa vibración.
Estos
Claro.
mares que suben, que suben, que suben.
Así es, así es. Por eso me encanta la imagen también, ¿verdad? Muy y ahora esta imagen es completamente diferente. Esta imagen es completamente diferente. This is an image that's on acrylic on canvas. So as you know, and as you have seen, Michelle is so multi-talented and she uses different medium, not only the word and pictures and transformation digitally, but also she paints. Just like we saw in the previous image of the mother in tears, I think this is a very impactful image. Talk to us, and there's a poem that goes with it, Michelle.
There's a poem that goes with it, but also this painting was last exhibited at Kenkeleba House, an art gallery in the Lower East Side in New York. Was it 3 years ago, Johnny?
Yes.
2019. So there was an exhibit 2019. I think I had
Yes.
15 or 16 pieces that were exhibited at Kenkeleba. And it was titled Magnitude 7.1, and that referred to the earthquake of 2010. So if you look at the painting, you can see the chaos that ensued after that. But that is not the poem. The poem, there's a very short poem that goes with it that is called The Rift, La Falla. Because we were told that there were so many rifts in the land, which is what caused the earthquakes. Muchas fallas en esta tierra que causaron este terremoto. Pero es otra falla. Hablemos de otra falla. Other rifts. Underneath the beauty was a rift. In the heart of the land was a rift. And the rift in the land reached the rift in our heart. And we lost our people and the land. Because the rift was not only physical. The rift is the divide that we have put between all of us, between social classes, between colors, between educational divides. We have created a nation of exclusion and not of inclusion. And what had happened in 2010 is that everyone was hit. Yes, obviously, those who had less were hit harder. But then Haitian society discovered that we all could be hit. We are all hit. How terrible it was, that lesson. How terrible it was that we didn't even learn from that lesson. That is the tragedy.
Yes, but it's almost, to me, is 200,000 dead, 300,000, homeless and hurt. And these are the traumas that don't get healed.
Yeah, I think if I want to add something here, that to some extent Haiti has never recovered from the earthquake in 2010. Estimates vary between 100,000 people and 300,000 people dead as a result of the earthquake immediately. And in the aftermath, there was at the very least about 1.5 million people were displaced from their homes. And many of them were living for months in squalid camps that were being serviced by international NGOs primarily, because to some extent, you know, unfortunately, disasters such as earthquakes attract NGOs, both for a couple of reasons. One, because there is a genuine willingness to help people who are in need. But the other factor is that there are a lot of NGOs that see it as an opportunity to rake in a lot of money for their own institution. So you have a situation where lots of money was promised to Haiti, lots of money allegedly were given to primarily international NGOs. And for example, one of the stellar example that stands out is that the international, when the U.S. Red Cross was given about $500 million in order to help the people who were in need and living in squalid camps. And a report, an investigation by the independent press ProPublica revealed that out of these $500 million worth of goods or of money, of cash that went into the U.S. Red Cross, there was only about 6 homes built for these internal refugees. So it was a complete mess. That mess continued with a dysfunctional government to some extent, which allowed for people to claim leadership via what I would call manipulated elections, but that were nonetheless blessed by the United States and its allies throughout the world. And as a result, more than $4 billion was siphoned off from the Haitian treasury as well. So to some extent, so it's not as if the world did not respond. The world did respond, but the institutions, the framework, the context allowed thieves to come in, and basically siphon up the money while sort of smelling like roses because they had the best perfumes from Donna Karan and all these other celebrities that also found themselves in Haiti at the time. So it's a warning to people that to some extent, part of what we have to deal with here is that we need to seal, we need to mend the rift that allows these pirates, these buccaneers, to come in, and basically steal the carpet from under our feet, because we're not going to be left off. And as proven, we are in the Haiti is in a worse shape today than it was after the earthquake, frankly.
Well, to me, Johnny, this painting is a type of Guernica for what happened, and what continues to happen, you use buccaneers, and what came to mind were vultures to me.
Yes.
Really, that's my feeling, is that vultures are attracted by death and destruction, and they come and claim the spoils. But we must continue so that we can get to enjoy more of what Michelle has in store for us. And you can see we have here also a a video that I think is a poem, and it's in the book. Maybe Michelle, you can talk a little bit about it before we put on the video.
Yes, this is an event that has marked an entire generation, that continues to mark people, because there are the descendants of these people who are still alive and who are mourning the deaths. And there are children who were traumatized because they had been forced to go watch the execution. The schools had been threatened, so they had to bring the school children there. This happened on Thursday, November 12th, 1964. This is the execution of Drouin and Numa, executed by the orders of Duvalier.
All right, here, let me put it on then.
It was Thursday. School children with ribbons in their hair would bear witness. It was Thursday. I remember childhood. I remember a faraway time before my heart fled south, when good intentions came to nothing and promises were trampled with the dew. They came for you at dawn, dragged you through prison gates after a shave, a wash, a change of clothes. I don't believe you cried, even when they strapped your shoulders to the pole and the bullets echoed in our eyes, swarmed in your chests. It was Thursday. School children with ribbons in their hair would bear witness until you signed your name in the earth with your bare feet. Cameras rattled off to steal your soul, but all they captured was your death, replayed for days on end, so those who were not in that narrow street or on the balconies facing the cemetery could hear your rising moan and see your bodies slump, so still between the shade and light. It was Thursday. School children with ribbons in their hair would bear witness. You faced the firing squad, eyes opened wide, and died under the bright sky. Your blood, the color of the dress they forced your sister to wear to belie her grief, flowed and seeped into everything. And pain was everywhere. Let the crowd bleat, choking on its own shame as it returns from the execution grounds. What stirs its body and spirit is fear. But you are fettlerless, Numa. And Drouin, your wandering is done. You've found another freedom. I wrote The Assassins of November for Louis Drouin and Marcel Numa, who were part of the Young Haiti guerrilla movement that tried to overthrow Duvalier after he proclaimed himself president for life. 13 members of Jeune Haiti had landed on Haiti's southwest coast in August 1964. Most of the 13 were killed in combat, but Drouin and Numa were captured and taken to Port-au-Prince and publicly executed at the cemetery on Thursday, November 12, 1964.
Michelle, to me, the most amazing gift that you're giving the people of Haiti is this poem, because we need to keep that historical memory alive of what happened. The
There is
trauma.
actually a group called Devoir de Mémoire, Deber de Memoria, the duty of memory, that is working and has published a book and tirelessly working to keep those memories alive as well, and the archives as well. But I think I'm going to let Johnny speak. Not necessarily that time, but what parallels he can make between then and now.
Okay. Johnny?
Well, I mean, then repression was much more organized. Came directly from the people who held the reins of government and deployed as necessary what they call at this point the tontomacoutes, so that they wanted to suppress all kinds of freedoms, freedom of expression, freedoms of opinion, freedom of the press, freedom of association, and so forth. So as a result, many of us and many of our parents decided that it was best for us to live in exile rather than continue to live under dictatorship. Today, we have a situation in which, unfortunately, Haiti is not the only country that finds itself in this situation. I think El Salvador does as well. The fact is that to some extent, we have a so-called democracy, but a democracy that is just as violent, as ruthless, as inhumane as the naked dictatorship that we knew, primarily because now government can hide behind a series of criminal activities and gangs who that apparently enjoy lots of impunity, from policing and so forth, and these gangs, are basically gaining ground and in control of the country. So you have a situation in which it was easier back then, to identify the political repression, where political repression was coming from. Today, you have a situation in which there is political repression, and then there is criminal repression, and they work in tandem, to a certain extent, to destroy the society that we hope was going to be much better at this time of our existence, and that is, frankly, quite depressing, unfortunately, which is why art, I think, is there to stir the spirit of rebellion in us, and to stir the spirit of this cannot be, and we have to keep on going.
Absolutely, Johnny. Absolutely. I think that there's no question that when we have been witness, really, our lives, I'm 73, and, on and on and on these cycles. And it's very hard to think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But I think that if we have, through art and poetry and understanding and moving away from the rift into a hopeful mode, I think we can, once again, we need to keep those spirits up. And that's why I love Michelle's poetry, because she can make you feel that pain, but at the same time, she has hope in her heart. No?
Can I say a phrase from Brecht? You know, during the very dark days in Germany, the 40s, someone asked Brecht, in the dark days, shall there also be singing? And he said, yes, there will also be singing about the dark days. So
Well,
again, it goes back to testimony and testament.
yeah, absolutely.
If you are living through these times, then you owe it to the children to say, this is what I lived through. This is what it was.
Yes, and I'm here and I see the light of day every day, you know. I think that's what it is. It's saying that.
It's coming back from drowning. And as I say that, does that lead you towards the next poem?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's being washed ashore.
Okay, just a minute. Let me put share screen on. Okay.
Twice I kissed my life away. Twice saw ghosts at the edge of the world, where half woman, half fish, I drown my million nights alone in deep sea sounds and reckless waters that open wide and forever, slipping into me wave after wave after wave, an infinity of salt. Was it your voice that brought me back like a net, laying me bare upon the shore, burnished by the sun? Was it your voice that brought me home?
Wow.
There is always something to bring us home.
Yes, absolutely.
If we continue to hope.
Yes, if we continue to hope, and there is always hope. There is always hope. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I love about both of you is that you have found hope in each other and you have found hope in love. And it gives me hope and it gives me joy to see the love that you have together. And also, it's yesterday we talked about this relationship between Claribel Alegría and Bud Flacol, Flacol in English, and it really how it became a collaboration in four hands, le llamamos, en a cuatro manos. They wrote books together. And I think the last two books of yours, Michelle, have been very much un trabajo a cuatro manos, you know. It has been a true collaboration in which each of you inspires the other, you know. It's like I see you, but you see me seeing you, and I see you seeing me. You know,
a lot of looks around. Obviously, Michelle is very lovely to look at.
Absolutely, I agree.
Able to work together. Especially during the pandemic, because that's how we actually began. And I tell him often, I'm so glad that we like each other as well as love each other, because it's very hard if you don't like each other to be together 24/7 during a pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But also through this collaboration, in the sense that on the one hand, Black Lives Matters intertwined with that whole period of the pandemic. And it's like you stood witness, both of you, to what was going on, and you created from it, and you did not close your eyes from it. You actually faced it. and embodied it and presented it. And I absolutely love the transformation that you did from it, you know. And I think this book also is what I think Black Lives Matter was very much placed in the US.
Yes.
And what I love about this book is that it places both of you in your original home, what we call in Spanish, donde dejaron el ombligo. Ahí sembraron el ombligo. That's where that umbilical cord is still there. It's buried, and therefore it calls. Yeah.
It's under a tree in Haiti. You bury it under a tree, and you usually know which tree it is that you can come back to. This brings you back home.
Absolutely. Well, I think that your mother being 101 and bringing you back home, and I think that this constant, what you both synthesize for me is how we can be in two places at once. You know, we can be here in the States, being permeated by what's happening here, our role here to reflect that, and at the same time living in our homelands, being able to also reflect that and bring that forth, you know.
How lovely to put it like that, but yes.
I just want to say that there are a few people with us tonight, and I just wanted to bring them forth, our audience. Miguel Ángel Chinchilla Amaya. Miguel Ángel is a writer and also a recording artist and a videographer, and he has been working very hard to bring history into and bring women forth, women's voices forth, you know, lately. Thank you for being with us, Miguel Ángel. Elisa Archer Diaz is with us. Elisa is an artist herself, and it's wonderful to know that she is continually transforming herself through her art. Rolando Costa and Maribel Garcia Prieto de Mendeville is with us. And another artist and poet has been with us, and I'm so delighted, Martivon Galindo, because Martivon is painting constantly, and she's a writer and a poet and an academic, I think, and a teacher and a professor. It's very much your kind of a woman, Michelle, your kind of woman. And Martivon, I'm delighted that you're with us tonight, because I think you have found a kindred spirit with Michelle and with Johnny as well. So thank you so much for being with us. And I wanted to see if there was anything else in this book that you would like to read, Michelle, before we close this evening, because there are so many good poems. I just, you know, and it's also, I want to know where we can just look at the gorgeous imagery that goes with the poem. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely divine. And so I want to know where our public can purchase the book.
Johnny?
Well, but we publish it through Blurb. So if you go through blurb.com and put in the search Michel Voltaire Marcelin Shadow Dance, you'll get to the book right away.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the price, Johnny? It's about $25.
Yeah, it's about $25.
Okay. And with it, as I said, you know, for all of you who are writers, the idea of transformation of what you can do with pictures as well as digitally and with art and word the combination of both of them. To me, both books, this book and Witness, are just absolutely gorgeous to behold and to read and to go back to. Yes. So, Michelle, is there anything else you want to read?
Does this bring forth any
Let me, just a minute, let me,
here of who these people are?
absolutely. Who are these two people that are there? It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful.
That matches this image.
Yeah, well, you wanna,
Yes, it's
yes.
called
Okay,
Love
I can try to get the image again. For some reason, I have lost it, but you know,
While you look, I'll talk a bit about it.
okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see if I can do it.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Okay. This illustrates, this obviously for those who can't recognize this is Johnny and myself. And it's also a digital image that I worked on. And it illustrates a poem that is titled Love Grows. Johnny and I are believers in having a no drama relationship. That does not mean no passion. It really just means no drama. Keeping the drama to the stage is enough for us. So the love we seek is a love that is a love of fortitude and a love of patience and a love of respect and a love that is sustainable. Love grows in this quiet house. Love grows with every gesture. We are safe here in this sweet forever, weaving brief, breathless moments into hours, spreading our treasures into darkened rooms, singing a sanctified, sanctifying song when lust and laughter come together as we do. Intertwining, we rise and fall and rise again, and come with trusting mouths and breaths, sweet love revived, sweet love renewed, and nothing left but clarity of light and truth. Sometimes we sit and watch the world as days withdraw at the end of the earth. Night falls in this quiet house. Our dreams vanish with every dawn. All that is left are fragile words whispered and the wonder of each other. Love grows in this quiet house. Love grows with every gesture.
Oh, oh, that is so gorgeous. That is so beautiful. And I am privileged to witness that love. And I'm so glad that you're sharing it with the world as an inspiration for us to understand how love grows.
Quietly.
So, yeah, quietly with every gesture, yeah, that's what it is. As you say, no drama, but it is a gesture that actually shows love. It is a gesture. So for me, I want to thank you both for being with us tonight. I want to thank you for writing this book and sharing it with me, because you know that I was going to love it. You know me. And I think because it's a book that takes me through that poem that you, La Pizarra, that you shared. It's from childhood, starting with an Ars Poetica. Why is it that I write? All the way to the images of Haiti, what it means to be Haitian, what it is to live in and to have witnessed the devastation of the earthquake and the devastation of everything that has happened. And yet, at the end, it's also the joy that you bring to us with your dance, with your colors. And it's like, it's death and rebirth. Holding, it's holding with just a ribbon of life. Yes, absolutely. So any last words from either of you for us?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a friend from the beginning. When we met in 2009, I think we connected then, and I'm glad the connection never faltered, even though we don't speak or see each other often. But I think the connection is there, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely.
Salvador, for giving us this incredible woman.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet, for inviting us to share this Friday evening with you right at the beginning of spring. So we're going to spring forward, and enjoy it. Hopefully we'll see each other pretty soon in the flesh.
In the flesh, in the flesh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It won't be as a gorgeous flesh like the one I see in that picture. Anyway, but I just thank you very much. And thank you for exemplifying love. And that's all we really have is love. And that's what really means something to all of us. Y en nombre del amor, muy buenas noches a todos y les deseo un feliz fin de semana. Y acuérdense, el lunes es el Día Internacional de la Poesía. Vamos a estar 24 horas presentando poesía del mundo entero. We are here, and on Monday there will be poems in every single language. You will see. Please be with us. Monday, the 21st, International Poetry Day, and we need a bath, a poetry bath, and we are going to get it on Monday. Thanks, everybody, and buenas noches. Buenas noches. Adiós a todos. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.